Michael McGreevy made his much anticipated return to the Cardinals and learned very quickly that the Dodgers are a lot better than those AAA teams that he's been facing from Memphis. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I am your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio, as well as the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and hit that notification button so you don't miss anything we post. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Well, as you can see, if you're on YouTube, I do have the Ugly Loud shirt on because, yes, the Cardinals did get a series victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers. However, they did not win on Sunday. Michael McGreevy is the real story in this particular game because he's done all he can do with AAA Memphis. There's really not much left for him to prove. But with the starting rotation remaining as healthy as it has been for the Cardinals, there hasn't been a spot for him to take over yet. Some will argue that he should be in over Andre Pallante already at this point of the season, but it just doesn't appear like that's something that the Cardinals are interested in doing yet. They're going to continue to roll with Andre Pallante. And with this grueling schedule, the reason McGreevy is up and taking over a spot at all is because the schedule is so rough that the Cardinals, they've got this month of June. They've got one more day off this month, weather pending. We don't know. There's been so much rain in the forecast. They're going to go with that 6-man rotation again, and that's going to give McGreevy a shot to pitch in the majors on a regular basis, which is good. It's something most fans have wanted to see this year already. I think we all want to see McGreevy at the major league level. Just had to find a spot for him, really. That was kind of the issue. And the Cardinals didn't do him any favors on his return by having him start against the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Hey, Michael, high five. Welcome back. Guess what? Say hi to Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith and Max Muncy and Tommy Edman and Andy Pages and Hae-Sung Kim and Michael Conforto. I mean, who else am I forgetting? They just got this awesome lineup that the Dodgers put out there each and every day. It's wild how good they are. And the first couple innings, things were a bit bumpy for McGreevy, okay? Former first rounder out of UC Santa Barbara, getting touched up pretty nicely by the Dodgers. They just were not missing much early on. They were pretty locked into what McGreevy was offering. Ohtani doubles, first batter of the game, 107 off the bat. Mookie Betts lines out to Arenado with third base, but 103 off the bat. Freeman lines out to first, 103 off the bat. They end up stranding Ohtani in that first inning. So you're like, all right, okay, he's probably loose now, a little more calm, everything's good. Second inning didn't go much better. In fact, it was worse. McGreevy gives up a single to Max Muncy, 107 off the bat. Single by Will Smith, 101. Tommy Edman with an RBI single at 105. Then the weakest hit actually ends up doing the most damage. A triple to right by Kim at 99 miles per hour. It's not like it was, some 70-mile-an-hour blooper or something, but still 99. That ends up plating 2. The Dodgers are quickly up by a score of 3-0. And the one thing I noticed about what was happening with McGreevy early on in most of these at-bats was that his pitchers were up in the zone, which is not where he can live. Up in the zone much more than usual when you watch McGreevy pitch on a daily basis, which if you don't get to see him throw for Memphis, then you have to kind of go back and look at what he's done as a Cardinal and those kind of highlights. And, he's down in the zone most of the time, but he gets up, man. And just like most pitchers, he gets hit pretty hard. McGreevy's not a power pitcher, so cannot live up there. Dodgers took advantage of that. But after that inning, this is not me trying to bash on McGreevy whatsoever. After that, McGreevy was very good. Only surrendered one more run over 3 hits over the next 4 innings. And his final line, 6 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits, no walks, which you love, 5 strikeouts. And let's not forget, these are the friggin' Dodgers. Like, these are the guys that were picked to win the World Series again. They're one of the best lineups and teams in all of Major League Baseball. Even the best of the best is going to struggle against this lineup. Most pitchers are not going to mow right through them. So I see no shame whatsoever in what we got from McGreevy on Sunday. And the fact that he ended up making adjustments after that second inning, started to figure out what he was doing right, what he was doing wrong, and figured it all out and was able to keep his team in the game. I think that says something about what you have in this young right-hander who, again, has done all you can do down in Memphis. There's nothing left for him to prove, and pitched pretty well outside of one inning against arguably the best team in Major League Baseball. I'll take it. Bullpen comes in. John King gives up a solo jack to Mookie Betts, who had an awesome series. He was an absolute demon. Then Matt Swanson, it just was not his day. He was all over the place. Comes in with the score 5-3. Cardinals are still in striking distance, and leadoff walk to Hernandez, and then a single to Muncy. He ends up whiffing Will Smith, who's been one of the better hitters in baseball so far this year, but ends up hitting Conforto to load them for Tommy Edman, who hits a sac fly to make it 6-3. Then walks Kike Hernandez, and on ball 4, that one gets by. Pages called it a wild pitch. Clearly, that should have been a pass ball. Like, Pages should have caught that one, okay? He should have, but that makes it 7-3. He follows that up by hitting Ohtani on the toe before finally getting out of the inning. And the ninth inning, Swanson was better. Still walked the dude, but final line for Swanson: 2 innings, 2 runs, a hit, 3 walks, but also 3 strikeouts. So you can see that there's talent there. Just has to be more consistent in the zone. That's really what it is. And Sunday was a rough day for his control. And, I'm getting tweets and stuff from guys like, what is this guy doing on our team? Well, he's terrible. And I'm like, he's not terrible. He's just having one bad outing. Like, and you can see why. And he's one of the lowest guys on the totem pole in your bullpen too, by the way. This is not one of your top 5 guys, but didn't have a good day today. And it ended up pushing the lead out to a spot where the Cardinals couldn't catch up. Offense had its issues as well, with a future Hall of Famer on the mound for LA before stringing some hits together against that bullpen. And there were 2 big spots that stood out to me where this game could have went in a drastically different direction for the Cardinals, and instead it didn't. So I want to talk about those, discuss those moments next on Locked On Cardinals. Whether you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth to activities, or tracking an endless to-do list, your morning sets the tone for all of it. And that's why it should start with the perfect cup of coffee, crafted just for you. And that's where Trade enters. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the United States, delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan, which I personally am, I think that stuff's great, or you're a pour-over purist, they've got a roast that you love with so many different ways to find what you need. You fill out like a little quiz. It gives you ideas and some recommendations for certain coffees that maybe you've never heard of and you want to give them a try. And it seems like everything's more expensive these days. So I always want to get my money's worth when it comes to purchasing things that I love. And that's why I love Trade Coffee's prices. They are comparable to grocery store brands, but the big difference is, and there is a big difference, the flavor on a whole different level than what you're getting in the grocery store. And right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. Clayton Kershaw, tip of the cap to Clayton Kershaw. Going to be in the Hall of Fame whenever he decides that he's had enough, that he doesn't want to pitch anymore at the major league level. After seeing what he did today, I don't know why he'd want to hang him up anytime soon. He, not as dominant as he once was when he was winning those 3 Cy Young awards and the MVP and those ERA titles. Has had multiple injuries, is now 37 years old. So it's a grind for him, but the dude can still pitch. And when he's on, he's going to be a tough customer. And, of course, you got people that were like, but JD, look at his numbers. He's got an ERA over 5. He hasn't won yet. How can the Cardinals be losing to this guy? Yeah, but he's had one really rough game, which was that first game back from the Angels. Subpar outing in his last outing against the Mets, but the Mets are really good. They got the best record in the National League and are one win off from the Detroit Tigers for the most wins in baseball. So they're pretty solid. Most pitchers are going to have some trouble with that lineup. And Kershaw on Sunday, he was just baffling the Cardinals. He was dotting, and he looked good. The Cardinals were getting aggressive early on in the counts, which I'm a more patient guy. I don't care who it is, but they were aggressive, and Kershaw was getting out of them. Easily his best outing since coming off the IL. Kershaw had a season-high 7 strikeouts over 5 innings, 1 run. That's all he gave up. And there were 2 big chances that the Cardinals failed to come through in that stood out to me in this one. First one was in the 5th inning. The score's 4-0 at this point. So you're kind of thinking like, oh, boy, this one could get ugly. Cards got leadoff singles by Alec Burleson and Pedro Pajes. Granted, it's the bottom of the order here that we're talking about. And granted, Jose Barrero has not had a lot of action recently. Oddly enough, like I feel like they really do. I feel like they need to be letting him play just a little bit more, just to give other guys a day off. Mason Wynn could use a day off from time to time. This is a long season, and I know that he's young and he wants to play every day. And of course, Ollie wants to pencil him in every day. But, as many games as they got coming up the rest of this month, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Barrero get a little more action in place of Mason Wynn, just to give him a breather for a day here and there. So, to make sure that he's better 5 of the 7 days than wearing him out and him only being really top at 100% like 3 days a week. So, but Barrero pops out in foul ground in this situation after the 2 hits. Pop out the first base, and that sucked because it's an unproductive at bat, and people were asking, why aren't they even trying to bunt guys over at this point? I'm assuming that with the score 4-0 at the time that, Barrero's got a little bit of pop in his bat too. Ali was probably like, dude, let's swing away and see. Maybe he can drive one into the gap. What if he puts one over the wall? Boom, where it's a 1-run game, or at least 1 or 2 runs are scoring if he gets a double. But he pops out instead. He let him swing away, wanted to give him a chance, and it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. Newt is next. He goes down swinging on 5 pitches, and it kind of reminded me of how pitchers are throwing Jordan Walker right now. Everybody's throwing low and away to him when there's a righty on Jordan Walker. It's like sweepers and sliders, and everything's going low and away. And that is what Kershaw was doing the Newt part. Low and away. And Newt kept chasing it. Struck out 3 times in this game today. Mason Wynn, who had a solid series, ends up saving the inning, rips a hit to left field for a double to plate 1 runner, but Donnie strikes out and the threat is vanquished. So could have been a much bigger inning, clearly, but Kershaw pitched his way out of it. Give him credit. Next big chance was the following inning. You got a new pitcher in for the Dodgers. Lou Trevino is in there, so he's a right-hander. And Wilson Contreras greets him with a double. Then Herrera singles to right field. I thought Willie was going to score on this play. I don't know about you guys. I did not think the stop sign was coming whatsoever. I thought Contreras was going to come right around that bag and score. I didn't think it was going to be that tough of a play. But they held him up at third. Pop Warner held him up at third. I didn't see if he got a bad jump. That's a possibility too. Maybe he didn't read the ball off the bat very well and didn't get a good jump. Very fair possibility. I really did not see that. Or maybe they were just being safe. You're down 3 at the time. It's 4-1. There's nobody out. Why risk getting somebody thrown out at home plate, which is completely understandable as well. But now you got first and third. So I'm not complaining about Pop Warner. My instant reaction was like, oh my gosh, they didn't score there. I thought that was an easy one. But first and third, nobody out. You got Nolan Arenado stepping up to the plate. And I even said to my wife, she's sitting there watching the game with me, and she's like, oh, here you guys go. And I'm like, yeah, but this is Arenado. And I was like, probably a pop-up or a double play. It has it written all over it that it's going to be one of those 2 things. And I hope I'm wrong. And lo and behold, next pitch, he pops it up. And that was tough. And I know we've had some really cool Nolan Arenado moments this season. You know, obviously Saturday was a big moment for him, and I love it. I love it. But you have to admit, you've seen these pop-ups happen quite often from Nolan Arenado in bigger situations, and this was a really bad spot to get one, and it happened. It happened. So another unproductive at bat when, you know, a rally is really getting going. Burleson hits the deep fly to center, which just kept going and going for a moment there. I was like, is this going to carry out? Ends up dying at the track eventually, but it brings one run in. But now there's 2 outs. Pages grounds out, ends the threat. So 2 spots there, big spots for the Cardinals where they had some chances to do some real damage and got 2 pop-ups instead. And I'm not going to say that this is like, oh my gosh, Guerrero sucks, Arenado sucks. That's not what I'm saying. Sometimes the pitchers just win, okay? There's a reason why they're in the major leagues too. And I think that's what happened here with Guerrero and Arenado. It's not like they chased some terrible pitch and swung at it and popped it up. These were strikes. They just didn't get the job done this time. It happens. It happens. I'm not angry. Just saying those were the 2 spots that stood out to me where this game could have, you know, switched and went into the Cardinals' direction, and it did. And the Dodgers were able to hold it back. The next inning is when King gives up the home run to Mookie Betts. That stretches the lead to 5-2. Cardinals capitalize on a walk to lead off the inning, a leadoff walk by Ryan Vilade in the 7th. And real quick, that was one hell of a bat by Ryan Vilade. One hell of an at bat. 13 pitches. The dude fouled 8 pitches off in this at bat alone before working the walk. And the pitch that he took the walk on missed by a butt hair. Like, that's how it was so close. I was afraid they were going to ring him up. And I was like, oh, that'd have been a shame for him to not win that at bat because of that one. But, you know, the ump, ball 4. I was like, all right. So very cool at bat from Ryan Vilade. And you could tell the crowd appreciated it. You get it. The Cardinals fans got it. Outstanding at bat. And I know I've been getting some questions about why Ryan Vilade is on this roster instead of, say, like a Matt Koperniak or even Thomas Sajacy. And I don't have a full answer. I would just assume that it's because they want Sajacy getting work every day, taking at bats, which is not what he would be doing if he was on the Cardinals right now. And that they wanted a right-handed bat instead of Koperniak, who is a lefty. That's my thoughts, at least. But the leadoff walk, as it usually does, comes around to score. So great work by Ryan Vilade. Donnie gets that 2-out single up the middle. Contreras laces one for an RBI, hits it to left, and gets the RBI, making it 5-3. And there you are. You're right back in it. So the Cardinals didn't just roll over in this one. They did what they've been doing most of the season. And they're fighting back. If they go down, they fight back and they make a game out of it. But the next inning is when Swanson had all his control problems, and then the lead ballooned to 7-3, and the Dodgers bullpen was able to shut things down for the most part the rest of the way. 7-3 is your final, but certainly a much closer game than what the final score was for 7 innings. Like it was actually a very enjoyable game to watch. You know, it was a great series to watch, really. Especially if you're a Cardinals fan, because they won the series. But I've got some final thoughts on this game, this series, which again is still a series win. So we shouldn't feel gloom right now. You should be happy. You just took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. But we'll discuss all of that stuff coming up on Locked On Cardinals. The NBA playoffs are in full swing because we're in the finals now. I mean, it's not really playoffs anymore. This is it, man. These are the finals, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action, and FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and while the game's going live with player props. You got performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have so many more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you've got a read on a certain player who's starting to heat up in the game a little bit, why not back it up with the same game parlay? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, Tyrese Halliburton might be the playoff MVP at this point. I don't know how he wouldn't, unless they lose the series, but either way, he's been incredible. Those are obvious choices, right? Those are obvious choices that you could put a bet on and probably win one of the more simpler ones, which is what I think you should do. But then you've got some other guys that have been really, really good. Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith for Indiana, OKC, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. You know, they've got a bunch of good role players that you could bet on. But what I suggest you do is you pick an easier bet with one of the big guys that you're super sure will hit. And then you take one of those winnings and then you put those on the other ones and try to win bigger. That's just my advice. You can do whatever you want, but if you're new to FanDuel, this is the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you're going to get the $200 in bonus bets. So that's where you use the extra bets and you make the money and you make the more money and then you just keep it going, baby. So take those bonus bets, use it on things that could really help you win big. That's my advice. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Supposed to be hosting tonight, so maybe I'll wear this crazy shirt tonight. The Cardinals won the series, man. And the Royals series, you know, after it was done, there were plenty of people who had doubts about what the Cardinals were going to do moving forward with the big bad Dodgers coming to Busch Stadium. And outside of the series in Boston and in New York against the Mets, I haven't seen the Cardinals just look non-competitive against anybody. Each game, each series, they're right there. Even in the series that they've lost, especially after you started to get when they started figuring out the roster adjustments, right? And they started winning more and they had different roles for people and everybody started to find their spots on the team and things started going in the right direction. You had that winning streak. Each series they've been right there, no matter who they're going up against. You know, they've played a lot of the top teams in the league. Not all of them, but a lot of the top teams. And more times than not, they're winning these series. Mets, best record in the NL, spanked them pretty good in New York. Remember, they got swept, but Cardinals took 2 of 3 of them in St. Louis. Again, after those early season roster adjustments were completed, McGreevy comes up and has that fantastic game. You get the doubleheader win, the sweep, and then the Cardinals started rolling. Phillies obviously have slowed down recently, losing 9 of 10. But despite that, they still have 37 wins. They were almost right. They almost passed the Tigers for the best winning percentage in baseball for a moment there. And then they've fallen off a cliff for whatever reason. But Cardinals took 4 of 6 from them. Tigers have the best record in baseball. Lost 2 of 3, but that middle game against Detroit, that could have gone either way. They take 2 of 3 from the Astros at Busch. Now they take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers at Busch Stadium. Did I believe they were going to win the series against LA? No, I did not. The Dodgers are a better team on paper, for sure. I figured the Cardinals would get 1. I didn't think they'd get swept, but they get the 5-0 win on Friday. Sonny Gray has been so good recently. He's been awesome to watch. Then you get the emotional walk-off win on Saturday, which was one of the more fun games to watch this whole season. And then you keep it close for mostly the whole game on Saturday or on Sunday. 7 innings, your guys are right there. And then you go to the bottom guys in your bullpen and things got away from you. But again, you can't throw your top bullpen guys every day. All right. Romero, Maton, Leahy, Matt, Helsley. You used all of those guys to win the first 2 games. And you did it. You pulled it off, which means you have to use the lower guys in the bullpen. They got to be able to help you at some point and give you some innings. And it didn't work. This isn't a video game where they just don't get tired. You know, it's not like you turned off the stamina and you can just play and throw whoever you want as much as you want. It doesn't work that way. And the lower guys in the pen just couldn't get it done today. But your top guys are now going to be rested and ready for game 1 against Toronto on Monday. All right. Because you got to also think about the long term. You got to think about what else is coming up here in the month of June and how many games in a row you're supposed to be playing. And like Ollie said in his post-game press conference, he was like, we knew if we were down, we wanted to use King and Swanson in this one, that we needed them to throw. They did, and they gave up 3 runs. So it didn't work out so well for them, but they're going to be needed at some point or another later on this week. It's going to happen. So just know that. You just can't throw the top guys all the time. Credit to the Cardinals pitching staff. They kept Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman in check for most of the series. Not easy to do considering all the MVPs they have together. Ohtani was 3 for 12. Freeman just 1 for 13. Mookie Betts was the Cardinal killer in this series. He was a guy that, it seemed like every time he came up, he was getting a hit. 7 for 14 in the series. But he only scored once, had 1 double. And then the RBI that he got in the series was on his solo home run on Sunday. So it's not like he was driving in a lot of people. It was really the bottom of the order did most of the damage on Sunday. He shut him out on Friday. Saturday, nobody did anything. So give some credit to this Cardinals pitching staff for slowing down this Dodgers offense. Tommy Edman, 3 for 11 with 3 ribbies on Sunday in his return to St. Louis. We still love that guy. I know Freddie pitched well against the Dodgers, but you wish Tommy Edman was still in a Cardinal uniform because you love all the things he can do. Switch hitter, center field, middle infield, Gold Glove winner. He's so good. Hyesung Kim, impressive. First time I really got to see him play a lot. First thing I noticed is the dude can run. Oh my gosh, he's super fast, right? Running down that fly ball from Wynn on Sunday, that was super impressive. He's got some big built legs, and I like this guy. I think he's going to be a real game changer for the Dodgers this year. 3 for 6 in the series, the triple and 2 ribbies on Sunday. For the Cardinals, you got a little something from everyone offensively, right? We can go through more of their stats and stuff in our next episode because I'm running low on time here. But a lot of guys contributed in a lot of different ways. And that's kind of how this team is built. There's not superstars that they're going to have to rely on. Everybody kind of pitches in to get the wins. And it's been working. It's been working. If someone goes cold, the next guy steps up. That's just the way it is. Kind of like whack-a-mole. Remember doing that at Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza? Like whack-a-mole. You never know which one's going to pop up and be good that day. And the Cardinals have been able to string some W's together because of that. So they're 22-11 at home now, which is very impressive. Only the Tigers, Mets, Dodgers, and Tampa Bay Rays have more home wins. And the Rays is a little misleading because they've already played 43 home games because of the stadium issues in Tampa. So they're at the AAA park of the Yankees, but they got to schedule it around when that team's going to be there. So they've been playing a lot of home games, 43 already, where the Cardinals have played 33 home games. So they got 10 more games already at home, and they've got 1 more win than the Cardinals do. So 23 wins, a little misleading for the Rays, but that's the stat. So those are the 4 teams that actually have more home wins than the Cardinals. That's pretty impressive. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays are in town next, and we're going to be discussing the Cardinals offense in more detail from this series and moving forward, what the trends are for these guys right now. The pitching matchups, we'll get those to you. Power rankings are going to be coming out, so we got that coming up. And what to expect from the Blue Jays. We'll have all of that for you coming up in our next episode. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Please like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball. You looked great at Busch Stadium this weekend. It was nice to see the big crowds. It was nice to see the excitement. Ollie talked about it in his post-game interview of how the guys feed off of it and how it felt like Busch Stadium again. I hope it continues. I really do, because this team is an entertaining team to watch. They're playing good baseball, and they're winning more times than not. And when it comes down to what's most important to a Cardinals fan right now, as much as you might be mad about them not spending money or moves they did or did not make, you want them to win. And that's what they're doing. They're 3-3 on this homestand. Very easily be 4-2. And they just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. Blue Jays are coming to town. I hope we have some more big crowds out of Busch Stadium now that it's summertime. So anyway, I'm signing off. We'll see you again on Locked On Cardinals.